Okay, we're on notes for Unit 2, which is division. Division is separating something into parts. These are the three symbols you're going to notice with division. You will probably, if you're writing it as an expression, will use this. When you're working it, you'll use this. And eventually you will use this, which is a fraction bar, because division is a fraction, and a fraction is just dividing it into parts. So here I wrote it as the equation, and I used this symbol for division. We are also going to learn some terminology here. What you have, your amount, is called your dividend. When you're writing it as an equation, that always comes first. How many parts you're breaking it into is your divisor. And your answer to a division problem is your quotient. If you are writing it as your work, your dividend goes inside the bracket, or I say inside the house. That is your dividend. You see that number just transferred there. Your divisor goes on outside of the bracket. That tells you how many parts you're dividing it into. And your answer goes on the top of the house or on top of the bracket. And you notice that it is so important to keep everything lined up. So that's your quotient. So make sure you put those terms down so you know where they're at. We will add this more to our notes when we go there to division so that you know the steps, so you don't have to worry about that. Checking our work. Once we do a division, the inverse operation or the opposite operation of division is multiplication. So we can check our work. So here we have a division problem, and I want to check my work. So when you check your work, you take your quotient and you take it times your divisor, and you should get your dividend. If you don't, there's a problem. Your next word is a remainder. A remainder is what's left over when you break apart the dividend. So I have my divisor, I have my dividend, I have my quotient here. My remainder is what's left over. I have one left over of my dividend, not of my divisor. This is when you write it as a remainder. Sometimes you will write it as a fraction. If I'm writing it as a fraction, I do the same problem. Here's my leftover, but I have 1 out of 4 groups. Then I put it over how many groups did I break it into? 1 out of 4. So my remainder is my numerator, and my 4 is my denominator. One of the ways we're going to practice division is with partial quotients. Just like with partial products, it's breaking it into parts so that you're not going individually by place value. Sometimes this is faster depending on what problem you have. You notice I have over here, I took 4 times 100 and I got 400, which dropped it down to only having 20 left. So when I broke 20 into 4 equal groups, I had to take it times 5. These are my partial quotients, and this is my answer. Some people go this way, some people do it above on the answer so that their quotient is above their answer. We will see what works best for you. And guess what? That's all your notes so far for division.